Good evening and happy Thursday. Hashtag my global family. This is Dre Abeita, coyote walking in this world, real life Esclato Pueblo superhero and proud two-spirit indigenous warrior. I also have roots from Laguna, Acoma, and the Philippines. And you are here joining us for episode 11, family, of hashtag Coyotes Family of Global Superheroes. I am here with my amazing siblings and sisters, especially tonight from around the world. Excuse me. And don't forget, family, this coyote is a whiteness critical race, intersectional scholar, activist, and researcher. And this is literally our everyday active activism. Our podcast appears every 2 weeks, family, right here on Facebook Live, and is distributed across this coyote's over 20,000 followers on 7 social media platforms. What we are doing, family, is we are sharing our lives, our counter stories, our lived experiences, and that is actual data that is worthy of being written about and celebrating our lives. So, family, let's go ahead and allow my amazing siblings to introduce themselves. Who would like to get us started? We got a little bit of a camera shy this evening, family. Let's go ahead and just start out with a name, an affiliation, and maybe what brought you to this evening to our family meeting tonight. Oh my gosh, family. So my amazing sis, Karlene and I, we've known each other for, I want to say 5-6 years now. And she wrangled me last week for the National Association of Social Workers, New Mexico chapter student legislation day, family. So I think I'm going to go ahead and call on her because she did a wonderful introduction and hosted an amazing event, family. I cannot give her enough kudos for all the work she does in our community. Karlene, you're going to get us started.
Thank you for having me. I co-hosted that. I barely started that practium. They were like, oh yeah, you started, guess what? We're doing a conference. Oh, and you're gonna be responsible for a bill analysis. You gotta co-host a thing. And can you come up with a group activity? Like, oh, okay, I guess. So that's what ended up happening. I'm currently right now a student, a master's in social work student at Highlands, New Mexico Highlands University. It's weird talking about myself. I'm a single mom. I utilize a lot of the social welfare assistant programs, which is kind of a part of like policy that I really want to fix, but a lot of that is at the federal level. And then I'm also looking into how to use asset-based solutions to like rural states like the one we live in New Mexico. I'm, I have a disability. I have an ADHD, and you find a lot of intersections there. I'm part of the LGBTQIA community, and it's my birthday, weirdly.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! And happy Black History Month, even though it has been really bad. So, but yay, we're here.
Yay! I'm so excited, sis. I'm so honored and happy that you joined us tonight on your special day. Also, I can't wait for us to go out. Oh my gosh. We gotta go, we gotta go adventuring. So yes, family, share the love. Don't forget to wish my sis a wonderful birthday. Let's go ahead and go to our next first time guest, family, my sis Deb. Deb, why don't you tell our global family about your awesomeness?
Thank you. I began my journey in education teaching English learners, writing curriculum for them because there was none, then beginning to write culturally competent curriculum, then moving on to my master's degree and doctorate in education. And my dissertation focuses on a group of 12 of my former students, because they're Cambodian Americans. So their culture, their everything they've gone through, their aspirations in higher education, what they found that was supporting them, the structural racism and economic structural racism that they faced, what supports they got, the career choices that they were making and why. And that work is fascinating. And then I had an experience in a teaching experience at that point, because I was a newlywed and I moved to another city. I grew up in Stockton, California, and taught and did everything there. When I moved to a little bit more northern, a more rural area, I'd always worked with children of poverty, right? And that's my preference. Title I at schools, that's it, that's where I live. This one wasn't. And I didn't understand how that would be different, but what I saw convinced me in that 1 year that had I been a new teacher, and I was far from a new teacher, it was so, I don't even know how to explain it, but I would have decided right then and there that this wasn't the profession for me, and I would have quit, which would have been tragic because all those kids would have lost what I created specifically for them. So I thought, you know what, I need to get my doctorate and support beginning teachers. And that is my passion. And I've done that for years. And I'm so proud of my grad students and where they are. They are movers and shakers. They are changing this world. They're all across the United States now. I'm getting goosebumps. But at any rate, we're in this together, all of us in education. We're in this together, and we continually support and amaze one another. Critical race theory is where I live. And by the way, please read it. Please read it.
I love it. Love it.
It's amazing. Got to meet my heroes along the way, like Dr. Banks. Not yet Dr. Gloria Ladson Billings, but anyway, I'm on my way to meeting all my heroes in that great effort. So thanks.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing with us this, Deb, and welcome to our amazing family. And last but not least, family, returning superstar and superhero, my amazing sis, Tomei.
Hi, thank you. I love your intros, right? Your intros is just automatically uplifting, empowering. And I'm like, that's me? Yeah, that's me.
Oh, yeah, that's you.
I'm
like, wait, what? Yes, you.
I am Tomei, the Truthteller. So, yeah, so it's, I just wanted to really quickly just say to you, Karlene, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Karlene. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Yeah, I let her take it, family. You don't want to hear this coyote croak. But that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
That was so beautiful. Thank you so much.
No, happy birthday. It's like just
love you guys so
the
much.
atmosphere, the energy, it feels like a celebration in here tonight. So I'm like totally excited about that. Yeah, so just a little bit about me, and I'm hyped up because I was a guest speaker in someone's class tonight with clinicians, with social workers, and it was so amazing whenever you can go into a space and not know people and encourage them to engage in like a difficult dialogue. And they stay with you. They're right there with you. Yeah. Even like as they're feeling uncomfortable, they're saying, I'm still here with you. Mm-hmm. Uncomfortable, but I'm staying. Because the reality is, I would like to think my specialty and what I'm really called to in this life is to help people become comfortable with being uncomfortable as they grow through what they grow through. That really challenges them. You know, so that's like my whole focus. And really just going from a space of always trying to preserve yourself to more cultivating yourself. You know, so that's what I really want to lean into. And I'm excited to be here again. Thank you, Drea, for having me. So I am going to stop there and just pass it back to you.
Thank you so much. And as tradition, family, don't forget this coyote is not only a critical race, whiteness, intersectional scholar, revolutionary and activist, a real life subtle poet superhero, but I am also a former pastor. And now, in an effort to decolonize family, just Coyote of Coyote's Lodge, House of Spirituality, Critical Race Theory, and Medical Marijuana. Shoot, family, my services were supposed to be today. Yeah, let's go for tomorrow, family. There's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. But don't forget, in Coyote's Lodge, we are a house of spirituality, which means that we work on our spirits, family. And we are not a house of institutionalized religion. And when we pray, we say hello to our ancestors and we ask for their guidance and blessings. And today, family, I think we have a special prayer because today's theme is all about walking the path of a warrior. So today, family, we're going to ask our ancestors and guidance for their blessings for courage. We need courage as we walk the path of warriors. And COVID, don't forget, family, this is like your fourth daily reminder from this coyote today. I know. But don't forget, if everything is not okay right now, it is not you. It is COVID, it is white supremacy, it is coloniality, it is ramifications of slavery and boarding schools, it is racism, it is capitalism, it's the fact that we don't have universal health care in this country. I'm just saying, family, there are 1,000,001 reasons why things are not okay. So together, we're going to learn how to heal, we're going to lift each other up, and we're going to spend some quality time with our loved ones. So join this coyote in our prayer for a courageous heart. Woo. Okay, let me turn down that flame a little, Gammy. Sorry, Gammy. Gammy, it's your favorite trickster coyote grandchild. I know, I've been up to my tricks again. No good. But you know those people, they're causing trouble. So we have to fight back, Gammy. And that's a warrior's calling. And sometimes the path is hard. But we've got this, Gammy. You were always there to fight for our family's rights and to protect us. And there was no door that you wouldn't demand open to make sure that your children had opportunities in this world. All of my sisters have gathered tonight and we have warrior spirits, Gammy. But sometimes COVID and the responsibilities of modernity weigh on our shoulders. So allow us to find those communities, those pockets, those spaces, those people who will love us, who will support us and lift us up. May we find that love so we have a courageous heart to do the hard thing and to be the leaders our peoples need. You are my first example of a warrior woman, Gammy, and you brought joy and love to my life. May you rest in peace and send that same spirit to all of our women, children, and girls from around the world. Papa, I miss you, Papa. Seriously, I miss you so much. If my Gammy was everything, ferocity, my Papa was everything, unending love. He was always there with a kind word, a tortilla, and maybe a place to hide if Gammy had out her wooden spoon. I'm just saying, Papa, as we face the world as your fierce warriors, allow our hearts that are sometimes hurt, that sometimes can be overwhelmed with the emotion, mourning our losses, helping to support our loved ones during these times of uncertainty. So send us those spaces, send us those little angels, as Gammy would say, who are going to be there at the right time, at the right place. Dear Papa, I miss those days of walking through the fields if you're chilly, of talking about what we were going to do or what football game we were going to see that weekend. May all of us take a step back during this chaotic time of chaos, of COVID, and find some quality time to recharge our batteries. May you bless our courageous hearts as we continue walking your warrior path. I love you, Papa, and may you rest in peace. And to my great-great-grandpa, Pablo Abeita, true revolutionary and a Sled Pablo statesman. And to all of our aunties, uncles, gammies, papas, cousins, our family who are blood, and those we have adopted, those who have treated us with dignity and respect. We are your people, your children, your grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren, and we are still here thriving despite COVID. Send us your blessings so we can walk proudly and with a courageous, loving heart. At this time, would anyone like to add anything to our blessing?
Thank you. Thank you from my heart.
Family, just to remind you, we are here tonight for hashtag Coyotes Global Superhero Family. This is podcast episode 11, hashtag Battle Hardened by Life, Walking the Warrior Path. And you are here tonight with this coyote. I am Dre Abeita, coyote walking in this world, real life Sled Pueblo superhero. Unfortunately, my sis, Dr. Rijasu Adrimañana, who is currently in Madagascar. Family, they have been affected by hurricanes, so she was not able to log in with us tonight, but will be joining us hopefully in 2 weeks again. My amazing sis Jody Berchet, unfortunately is also on her way and should be joining us potentially, but also blessings. She does amazing work, family, and she is a very busy lady. So she will be joining us again in 2 weeks as well. But the rest of my amazing siblings are here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Excuse me, family. Every episode is guided by one of the tenets of this coyote's original critical race theory, walking as coyote, in which, family, my theory says that during extreme times of need, ordinary people have to step up and become extraordinary. And all of my amazing sisters tonight, family, in my heart, in my soul, I know them to be fellow superheroes. And to be honest, they save me all of the time. So tonight's tenet, as we talk about walking the path, the warrior path, we're also going to be reflecting on tenet 3. Beware kryptonite, even superheroes need balance. Why do we fall, sir? So that we can pick ourselves up. Alfred Pennyworth. He is also one of my favorite characters of Batman, and he was a father figure who gave us words of wisdom. So let's not forget, family, if we get kicked down, especially with COVID in our lives, that's all right. We're going to get back up, especially with the help of our siblings. All superheroes have a weakness. As modern-day heroes of all of our communities, we have a responsibility to maintain a humanizing balance between mind, body, and spirit, lest we lose our superpowers. And family, as an Indigenous warrior, I always relate everything back to my way of life, to the lived experiences of my people. And this is a reading from I Walk in Beauty by Davina Ruth Begay-Two-Bears. My sole problem at Dartmouth was that I did not possess self-confidence. I often looked down on myself, thinking I wasn't good enough, smart enough, sophisticated enough, or rich enough, whatever. It took time for me to rise above my self-defeating attitude. And my dear sis Davina is talking about being a fish out of water, leaving your tribal community and having to go to a space of whiteness can be dehumanizing and can put you off balance. But as superheroes, as we remember who we are and remember that we are modern day warriors, we can find strength in our identities as well as balance in our lives. So today's conversation, family, all of our amazing sister superheroes are going to be talking about whether or not we're maintaining that humanizing balance. As always, family, our first segment is going to be our hashtag superhero check-in, in which our amazing superhero sisters are going to be talking about their battle of the week and their hashtag superhero moment. We're going to be talking about the highs and lows of the last few weeks. Who would like to get us started tonight?
I will start. So I'll begin with the battle of the week. And the battle of the week was with myself. It was really with myself, really sitting down and facing, where I just wasn't taking care of myself. I'm so good at encouraging other people to take care of themselves. And for me, it's not like I attend to things that I'm supposed to, but I don't attend to the things that I need to, right? So for me to exercise, it gives me energy. It also helps me in my battle against chronic depression. So I know that there are certain things I should do, but I kept making up, well, I got to do this work. I have to prepare this. I have to do that. And it was like, no, you don't. You have to stop with all the excuses and just make the choice. And I'm always encouraging people, like, being kind, being compassionate is a choice. It's an action. It's something you purposefully do to another person. And I had to sit with myself and wrestle with why won't I show that compassion to myself? Why can't I do that for me? So I walked around, I made an attempt to get my mind together that I would conquer this and get on my treadmill and put on my little sweatsuit that helps you sweat. And I didn't get on the treadmill yet. And I doubt I will when I get off. So that's my battle of the week. I just got to do it. Just do it. Just do it. My superhero moment of the week was what I shared about earlier when I said that I was a guest speaker in a class, and I know that I say things that make people, secretly like cringe, because they're like, can you just give me a spoonful first and then come back another week and talk about the rest? And for me, it was just a process of like, you know what? I'm always uncomfortable as a Black woman in America. I'm always uncomfortable, but I am comfortable in my skin, right? So because I'm comfortable in my skin, I will show up. I'll show up laughing, quirky, whatever people think, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I do the job I'm called to do. I do the passion. I show up and share my passion with others. And I got a chance to do that. And it was a majority of the dominant community in the space. And they embraced me, but I can see that they were like, you stretching us right here with this conversation, and one person who looked like they didn't want to be bothered and was just kind of sitting like, like this. At one point towards the end, she was all up in the camera like, this is good,
You get them at the end.
Watching people's body language is everything. So I would say that's my superhero moment of the week, that I was able to just show up and just be authentically me and know that I did the work so I can detach from the outcome. Yeah, so that's it for me.
Congratulations! That's awesome! Woo! And I miss that. I mean, I miss the class and I miss the students, right? I miss wrinkling their little brains and challenging them. I mean, not their little brains. They got big brains. Everyone has a big brain. I'm sorry, you guys. I think of them as my kids. I mean, is that bad? They're like my children. I mean, they're mine. They're mine. They're still mine. They're gonna be. It's like my mom. She's like, yes, you're 40, but you're still my baby. I feel the same way with my students. Like, they're still my students. I don't care, you guys. I will fight for them. Just saying. But that's our community. That's our love, right? Like, we're all tied by this love of education. All right, sorry, family. I just had to like share in the love for our students. Who would like to go next? Again, this is our superhero check-in with our high and low of the week.
I'll go. I've been waking up very lucid in the morning and deep in my thoughts and just thinking about things that I wouldn't normally see. Years ago, I used to journal all the time. That kept me straight. That, I don't know, it just made me look at things differently in my life and what the meanings were and what I'm seeing next and what I'm seeing behind me, where my positioning is. So I began doing that. I've given myself permission to have time for that, not work, not jump here, not do that, but journal first, because it's a power move. That's what I see, is it empowers you throughout your day and just makes everything else go, because you can see more signs along the day that point back to what your thoughts were, and either underscore it or you go, no, maybe it's a little bit different path. It guides. I guess it is a spiritual thing. So it's a power challenge. My challenge is, well, wait, before I say that, I thought about something today specifically. What's in your head, what you're trying to do, whatever it is, even if my hands are kind of getting old, so twisting off bottle caps, whatever, twisting off jars, it causes pain. And if you think, well, I'm not going to be able to do this, then you're not. But if you first tell yourself, I can do this, no matter what it is, guess what? You find the power to do it. So that was a new one for me. That was a new one. Just actually saying in your head, I can do this, or out loud, I can do it. And then you find the power to do it. The challenge, I guess, although I'm in that one and I can feel myself talking about it to me now, is I'm in the gym every day. There are days when I can't be because it's not my own gym in my own house. I wouldn't have that discipline, I don't think. But, they have hours. Can't go there at midnight. But that's my time with me, right? My music in my ears, my time with my body and listening to it to keep it moving the way I want to, in the direction I want to. But, when there have been gap days, I'm a little rough on me when I haven't gone, and I didn't go yesterday. So today, have to. So that's my deal.
That's a great triumph, though, going to the gym every day. Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Maybe some of your dedication will rub off on us.
We could be sisters together. We'll pull with each other, right? We've got each other's hands.
Exactly. Sis Karlene, how about your highs and lows?
Okay, first I just want to say I'm doodling, but I am listening to everybody. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad with names.
Deb and
Tomei. I really appreciate you speaking, quite frankly, to social workers, because it is like, at least in my class, I find there's, I think, possibly three other Black students. There's a couple of maybe Latin and some Indigenous students, but the majority of them are white. And right now we're doing a class of understanding, and that's been difficult, but I just want to thank you for doing that work with that class, because it is sorely needed. Okay, so I just want to say that first. But I guess the battle that I've had, it was kind of twofold. It was this learning contract, which I've never done before, and getting 3 different messages from my practium, from my teacher, and from my school. And then it was also, I had to do a developmental self-assessment. And that kind of took me out. But luckily I got to visit with my therapist. So, that helps. And then I think my superhero moment was when I realized I've been dealing with being raised in a white family where they really they already have a lot of underlying mental issues, but then they also have their racism and like grappling with the severe neglect that I experienced like in my childhood. But along with that, so part of that socialization was their anger. And I was like trying to deal with it from the aspect of, okay, so I've got to deal with what's hurting me, and I've got to work on my emotional like responses, or at least I would think that I had to like champion anger, that I had to be above it. And I realized the other day, right before I had this earth-shattering self-assessment, that it was actually, it's anger is not the problem. That's not the problem. It's the way I was taught to process it. And so how I was taught was to either explode or stuff. And there was, but it's like anger is an emotion that requires an action to be dispelled. And you can do it in a positive way that's beneficial to you. And you don't have to just either stuff or explode. So that was my superhero moment. Thank you.
Woohoo! Did I not tell you, global family, that my sisters are amazing? I'm just saying. Woo! This was another rough one, family. I gotta say, my PTSD is kind of running the show a little bit. I'm probably at about 30% capacity of work. Don't get me wrong, I still produce an insane amount of work. It's just not what I should be producing. And you also know that I am the leader of the world's largest graduate student organization. But it's a white institution, family, and I'm tackling it. And I did exactly what I said I was going to do, which is provide funding for my students, provide an honorarium and conference registration for all of our panelists. And I'm going to raise about $30,000. So if anyone knows anyone who wants to sponsor some amazing graduate students, I need about $30,000 for our first ever graduate student award ceremony, family, as well as social. It is going to be an Indigenous theme, family. Hashtag remembering our ancestors, celebrating Indigenous life. I am going to try to book a local cultural group. I am currently doing my research, family, to see who will be available, but that will be a significant amount, around $10,000. In addition to that, I'll have around another $10,000 in food and beverage, as well as wanting to provide scholarships and fellowships and awards for students. So family, this coyote has huge dreams, and that's $30,000 for one event. I also have 12 fireside chats that are in need of food and beverage, as well as a welcome orientation. So family, this coyote actually needs around 60 grand in 2 months. So if you know any amazing communities who want to help support graduate students, who want to sponsor the Indigenous group that I'm hoping to center at our conference during the social, literally, family, I am taking over the widest academic space in the world, and I need your help. I need money, I need help. I'm also the leader of 6,000 graduate students around the world. My government currently has 35 officers, 40 campus reps, 40 campus liaisons, and over 23 special interest group graduate student representatives. Sorry, family, our government is huge. When you add it all up, it's over 100 and some officers, and this coyote is in charge of the whole thing. So I'm trying to take over the world. I'm trying to create spaces, because the number one feedback I got is when I went to the American Educational Research Association conference in giant cities with 10,000 to 15,000 people, there were no spaces for people who look like me. No spaces for two-spirited, people of color, Indigenous scholars, critical race warriors. And I'm on a mission for my ancestors to change that, family. So I'm just saying, my battle of the week is I need a lot of money, and the system is pitted against helping graduate students. This is the idea that we're just there for decoration, apparently, and that we are not adult people with our own minds on what we want to do with our budgets, on how we want to help people, and that there is a wealth disparity between the gerontocracy that is ruling academia and the people who are entering it and struggling to make their way. Because I'm having dehumanizing conversations with tenured professors who are saying, we don't need help during COVID. So why would any of those people need help during COVID? Well, we're saying, no, we need that $50. We need that registration fee. It's humanizing. And that's my little family, is having to battle a big institution and having to look for a lot of money in order to get the bare minimum of what our graduate students deserve. My high of the week is I have amazing family to hang out with always and forever. And additionally, my cat got catnipped this week. A well-meaning person picked up my cat 2 blocks from her house and turned her into animal welfare. She's a 16-year-old cantankerous old lady. And so, yeah, try putting a collar on her or telling her what to do in any way, shape, or form. But we rescued her. So please don't forget, family, to microchip your pets. It pays off because they get returned to you. So that was my highlight of the week, family. Getting my grandma cat successfully rescued. And it's funny because she's my grandma cat and she was my grandma's literal cat. All right, family, let's go ahead and go to our second segment. Let's see what we have next. Our second segment, family, is hashtag Positionality Matters, digging into intersectionality. During this segment, each of our amazing superhero panelists are going to talk about one aspect of their positionality, of their identity, be it language, be it gender, be it racial, ethnic, be it class. We're going to talk about one aspect of our identities that made a big difference or impact in our lives over the last 2 weeks. Do we want to go in reverse order? I know Sis Tomei likes to do that.
So that means I have to go? Is that what that means? Okay. I see how it is. I guess a piece that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and in a different way, I've been following a lot of Black disability activists. And disability, I think, is something that we don't include in the conversation a lot because we are very able-centered, and it's weird because if you're not born with one, you eventually will have one. So it's a natural part of life. It's not, I guess a lot of people used to look at disability with like a medical model frame where it was like you had to overcome it, or it was something needed to be cured. And now we're moving kind of into the social model of disability, where it's the world that actually makes it difficult for people with disabilities to operate in. And I do see, like, in different aspects of like my education, even at my practium, like a lack of acknowledgement of disability. And I talk about my disability openly. It's not like what people, I guess, traditionally would think of as a disability, but being neurodivergent is one. And it's just interesting, like I did a legal research case on the ADA and what was before that, which was section 504, but all of that was like in the 80s or 90s. And that's wild to me because I was like a teenager in the 90s. Like, I'm like, what? Like, we barely got the ADA in like 1994 or something crazy like that. So
it is 1994.
And that's my piece on intersectionality.
Thank you so much. Sis Deb, do you mind being in the middle again?
I don't know that I can speak to it at this moment. There's too much flooding my head. So let me listen more.
No worries, no worries. We'll come back if you'd like to chime in later.
Oh, okay. So, you know what? I want to stay with where Karlene started, because that's really important, that people, there are unseen disabilities, you know, so people engage you day to day and they don't have a clue that they could possibly say something that triggers you, and they'll say, well, you know, you have the, I keep forgetting this line people say. Well, I didn't do it. You know, you have the button, so you have to disarm it yourself. Like, that's what people say to me. Like, so it's this idea that we don't have to be thoughtful about what we say before we say it, when we really should, because we don't know what somebody is dealing with in that moment, because all disabilities can't be seen.
Right.
You know, so I'm mindful of that, and I want to stay with that because, you know, we forget that studies are showing that our children between the ages of 10 or 17, the numbers have doubled of suicide, death by suicide. You know, and sometimes it just get overshadowed by so many other things that are happening, you know, and then we wait until we hear it happen to, you know, the former Miss America or Regina King's son. Like, we wait until we hear about somebody famous, and then we want to wait and talk about it. And I think the best way to help heal something is that when we bring awareness to a thing, the goal really should be to invite everybody to participate in the prevention of that thing. Because too often we feel like that's their issue. That's that person's problem. But because we're interconnected, it really is our problem. You know, so I thank you, Karlene, for lifting that up, because that's one of my identities as well. And it's something that really needs to be just lifted up so we can destigmatize it and be able to just speak about it, and more people can get help instead of, you know, hiding because of their identity. You know, I should be a strong Black woman. Nope, I'm a strong Black woman who says help. That's who I am. So that's it for me.
Oh, did you want to reflect on oh, well, okay, never mind. I just checking to make sure you didn't have another aspect of your positionality you wanted to comment on before we moved on. Okay, no worries. I don't know if this is, I guess this is positionality. I get taken for being younger than I am, I think, a lot of times. And I get taken for being a white person all the time. And I am 40 years old and I am an indigenous goddamn warrior. And I think that bothers me. Oh my God, that fucking bothers me. Because I'm the leader of a graduate student organization, and that's my primary identity because I'm a warrior for graduate students. When deans and professors talk to me, they feel like it's okay to treat me like a child. I am a fucking critical race whiteness intersectional scholar. I have been a community organizer for 15 years. I've taught for 10 years in higher education, 4 years in K-12. I've taught thousands of people. And last weekend, I had a scholar of color tell me that I did not have the right to use the word dehumanizing. That was not, I lashed back and I said that in this situation, I, as a two-spirited indigenous warrior, bisexual indigenous warrior with PTSD, who was at the time acting in the capacity as a graduate student leader, begging for money for one of our events, pointed out that that was not a humanizing situation. that was fucking dehumanizing for me to be there begging people. And for a colleague she is a colleague of mine. I am a colleague of these professors. I am not their inferior. To tell me in an open meeting where I am a leader, fuck it, family, it was a council meeting. I'm a goddamn council member of the world's largest, most influential, whitest, most moneyed organization in this goddamn country and world. And I am their equal because I am the leader of 1/4 of their membership. We represent a huge vulnerable population that brings money, that brings legitimacy to their organization, and they feel free to talk about how much they support us and love us. But in real life, we are an afterthought, and I'm tired of it. So when I, as a full council member, am told by a scholar of color that I cannot use dehumanizing as a critical race whiteness intersectional goddamn powerhouse, I get pissed off because I think that they just see a grad student, another person who is just someone that they can talk down to, that they can use, that is not a person, basically. So yeah, I'm not sure if the scholar of color thought it was appropriate because I look like a white person and they're a person of color, or because I look young. Because honestly, when I'm female, family, today I'm male, when I'm female, I look younger. I wear cute t-shirts. I do a lot of yoga. Like I could go for a younger person. And in the era of masks, you just see the top of my face. So I can see why. But again, going back to the critique against the gerontocracy that refused to give up power everywhere from our political parties to our goddamn institutions and everyday places work, I'm just saying, when are we going to realize that other people have good ideas, that they are also equally deserving of respect? So after I lashed out to this professor and said I had every right to use this, the response was, don't use the oppression Olympics against me. And I was like, you attacked me first. I'm literally verbalizing why I have every right to use dehumanizing because it matches the situation as well as my own positionality. So I'm just saying, family, can we stop, like, I don't know, disregarding each other and being incredibly disrespectful? Thank you for letting me air that out, family. I didn't realize how still angry I was about that. Yeah. All right, family. Oh, before we go on, Deb, did you want to go ahead and chime in before we go on? One last chance.
It's just a piece that I noticed, even in Twitter, which is apparently a bit less critical, maybe backlashy, backbiting than some other social media platforms. But even in Twitter, when people post, it's very often a criticism. And if anybody dares stick their neck out to say something perhaps original, they get attacked. It's not, instead of supporting one another and asking, could you elaborate on what you're saying so that I understand what you're saying, and respecting that person's thinking there. Maybe they didn't write it in such a way that you received it in the way they intended, but not just to slap them down and criticize them. And I had someone say, so it doesn't matter to you that you are so stupid and you don't mind that everyone in Twitter sees that. It doesn't matter to me that I am so stupid and everyone in Twitter sees it. And that one I just blocked, because I was like, there is nowhere to get in that space. But if people could just think about how the receiver, it's kind of it's a little bit, but see, you were face to face with someone that is much more hurtful.
It's on Zoom.
You see what I mean? I don't know who that person was who said that thing, and the criticism that I see, the harshness of it, it's hurtful. I see social media as a way to support one another, to empathize with one another, to embrace one another without actually being able to touch right now. That's my 2 cents.
Love it. I love it. I definitely truly believe in the superpower of social media, family. It is one of this coyote's favorite superpower super tools. Superhero super tools. Our next segment, family, is hashtag privilege saves. The lived experiences of educational warriors matter. And family, it does not matter from where around the world we are. All of my amazing siblings from around the world have educational experiences that do make us privileged, whether it be the people we know, the degrees we hold, the work we've done in our communities. This is our time for us to talk about how privilege touches our lives. Who would like to go ahead and go first? The free for all, this one, family.
I guess I'll go first. Like, I consider myself a Black woman, but I am a light-skinned Black woman. I can't deny that. And so I like I try to make sure that I don't, that I don't speak for other people, and I just support people where I can. And I kind of do essentially what I wish a lot of white people would do when you're talking about racism. It's like sit down with those uncomfortable feelings, figure out where they are coming from. Don't make them the other person's problem. Figure it out on your own and figure out how to support people who are dealing with more oppression than you are, but also remember that your story, your voice, your pain is real and that you are allowed to hold space. But as a person who doesn't have light skin privilege, I do have to remember that I do have that privilege, and to let other people have space. And also, I think about the fact that as a person with a disability where it's not apparent, I have to think about that as well when I'm advocating or when I'm speaking on some things. And most of the times I just like retweet people, repost people, and do a lot of like mutual aid stuff because I just want to help to support, and then also just constantly checking my unconscious biases and sitting down with those uncomfortable feelings, and also studying what I'm studying and remembering the structure of power is in place, white supremacy and financial capitalism that is pretty much hollowed out the whole income for the rest of us, and how without all of this oppression they could not have their millions. So I guess I don't know how to wrap that up, but that's it for me.
Well said. So again, to remind our audience, we are talking about how privilege can save, talking about aspects in which our lives are privileged, even despite COVID. Who wants to jump in?
I think it was, for me, a privilege that when I first started teaching English learners, that there really wasn't a curriculum. There wasn't anything. Actually, it was in a choir room, so there were no actual desks or tables. And at first that seemed like, well, so you go ahead and do it. But it was a privilege. Why? Because I needed to see inside them, to understand their lived experiences, to be able to create something relative for them. That's a privilege, to have that kind of connection with them and to be able to create something new that relates education where it's interesting to them. In other words, connect it to them. Anything, you can teach anything as long as it's relevant to their lives. So understanding their families, going into their homes, understanding their lived experiences, their religion, their focal points. That was a privilege that I had because I had a vice principal that understood and brought me into the homes and helped me get an understanding that allowed me to create that curriculum around them. and for them. That's privilege.
Thank you for sharing, sis.
Thanks. Privilege. Oh, it's interesting because I just talked about this tonight, right? That we all have power and privilege, and just really thinking about how it shows up and how it influences the way we engage one another. And what I was pleasantly surprised with was that a lot of the people of color in the space, they saw their privilege as a strength, right? They didn't go to the deficit lens. And I just appreciated that, because sometimes people feel like if they're part of the marginalized groups, it automatically means they don't have any power. And that's not true.
It's not true.
You know, we always have power and privilege. And I'm privileged because part of my privilege is being a graduate student. Part of my privilege is because I entered graduate school as a professional. So I definitely understand the frustration when people try to talk to you like you're just a student. And I think that's part of the academic hazing that we need to stop and break in higher ed, is that we need to start being human to one another. Because it's not this so hierarchical in that sense. But for me, I have privilege because I'm also an advanced practitioner in restorative justice. So I was pulled into spaces and given the opportunity to lead an initiative where I'm able to amplify voices of people who have been pushed to the margins, right? So that's my privilege and how it shows up. And interestingly enough, I am a survivor of sexual assault. And that shows up as a privilege at times too. You know, where people are contacting me to speak at conferences and different things. And for me, that's a privilege to go from survival to thriving to now soaring, right? And soaring in a way that I can go back and just be the evidence for people that it might not look like it, it might not feel like it for a long time, but you can get through to the other side. And that's a privilege that I have outside of something that was harmful. So yeah, I'll stop right there.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
I think for this coyote, it always goes back to money. I make no money, family. I think I make like 20 grand on the books. I'm a GA for 20 hours a week, and I make $1,500 from the university. And I used to teach adjunct at $2,600 a class for 16 weeks. And then COVID hit. And when you're a very critical, controversial racial scholar, you happen to be the last one picked for classes, which is unfortunate because I want my classes back. New Mexico Highlands, the class that Karlene is currently taking was my class, family. Anyways, so I'm just saying I'm still here. Anyways, but that, because I don't make a lot of money, it allows for me to do a lot of, okay, I don't make a lot of money, but my partner, who is an Ivy League graduate, as I am, he actually has 2 Ivy League degrees. He's an electrical engineer. He's a senior electrical engineer at the biggest electrical mechanical firm in the state. He got headhunted, family, from his tiny firm that went under during COVID, unfortunately. Not under, it is currently merging. But, so that means that I can be poor, as graduate students are horribly underpaid. Family, graduate students at University of New Mexico have been union organizing for years now, and they're finally at the bargaining table. Thank you, Gammy and ancestors and everyone who's been helping them and praying for them, because that was a crazy amount of work. I was briefly one of the organizers for like 3 months when COVID started, family. And then I did a bunch of other stuff, and I had to focus elsewhere. But the grassroots organizing for those efforts have been incredibly unique. But I'm saying graduate students are desperate situations. At the University of New Mexico, you make $14,000 for the entire year for all of the work you do. So As a graduate student, my privileges, my partner is amazing and supports my crazy coyoteness. But I'm asking us, like, what is humanizing? Like, why is there an academic standard where you have to be independently wealthy to basically make it? Like, you have to go to all these conferences. I just booked 2 hotel rooms because this will be the 6th trip that I've taken a group of students to attend an academic conference. Because I'm chairing, I actually have panels that I was able to plan, and I'm taking student groups with me. 2 hotel rooms, family, two, for the Wednesday check-in to Tuesday the next week checkout date, $4,000. That's just for the hotel room, family, for 2 rooms. And we're going to take about 7 to 8 people. But we also have flights. We also have food. I'm just saying it is astronomical to play this academic game. On top of that, we have to pay registration fees, and you have to pay membership fees for those organizations. In addition to that, family, all of my academic knowledge is supposed to be free. I'm supposed to give it away to all of these journals and publishing houses, and I get nothing for it. Nothing at all. It might take me a year, 6 months, 9 months to a year to get something published. I get something to add to my CV, but I get no money in my pocket. Again, as an academic, you're going to write grants for your university, bring millions in, and you'll be lucky if you cap 120 in a poor state like New Mexico. And at that salary, family, you're going to be a dean and have a whole bunch of other duties piled on top. So I'm just saying, in this capitalist society, family, why do we pay educators so horribly, pennies on the dollar? And why do people like me, who are privileged enough to have partners who can help pay the bills, are the only ones who are left to survive in this game? You have to be rich in order to survive in academia right now. And that in itself is a shame and a lie to the meritocracy, supposedly, that this country, America, the United States, is supposedly supposed to be. Too many supposedlys, family. But you get what I mean. It's a goddamn lie that this is an equal country and that education is somehow going to miraculously pull you up by your bootstraps. So let's figure it out, because capitalism is killing me.
Plug in my computers. Give me a minute.
No worries. I'll go ahead and introduce the next segment. Woo! Love this one, family. Hashtag whiteness, hashtag dear white family. Loving critical reflections from your friendly neighborhood and global superhero coyote family. In this segment, family, we directly talk to our audience and ask our white family for their help. It might be a direct plea we have, a direct ask we have, or just some sort of critical reflection that we have to share from our daily lives. Who would like to go first?
Did it knock me out? Yes.
You're here.
You can see me? I can't see any of you, but okay.
We see you.
Okay.
Okay, on the bottom, what kind of computer do you have?
It's I forget.
Can you see the icons with the zoom?
Yeah. Oh, there it is. This is me. There you are.
Okay. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're now on the segment Dear White Family, in which we talk directly to our white family. We can ask them and have a special message or an ask for them, or we could just share a critical reflection from our life. I think Karlene wants to go.
I didn't want to go. I'm just sitting back like, come on, guys, come on. First of all, I would have really appreciated these PowerPoints in advance. That would have been
Me too.
so I could have maybe possibly prepared something instead of being like I'm on the improv show right now. Like,
yes,
what is going on? Secondly, I had another incident with I knew this white person was going to be a certain way. I've been around white people, whiteness, like growing up. So I've observed a lot. I've been around a lot. So I knew she was going to do something. But I've been also doing in my understanding difference class, we've been talking a lot or doing a lot of readings on like the socialization of whiteness. And that doesn't really like, even when I did my undergrad in sociology, we didn't really talk too much about that kind of stuff. So it was interesting, but as this woman was letting me down like I knew she was going to, I had this realization that when you are talking to, especially somebody who has not even scratched the surface of their unconscious biases as a white person, or they have not really looked critically at the systems of power that we have in this country. I realized that another thing that they do besides seeing themselves as universal or default is that they filter themselves through each other, and that they feel, and then, but when they're listening to a story from a person of color, or a Black person or Indigenous person, and then that person of color is talking about specifically a white person, they don't know how to filter themselves through your experience, because that's not what they're taught. They're taught that they're the default, they're the universal, and therefore they immediately identify with the white person in that story, even if they don't agree with what the white person did. And I think there's also a weird part of white socialization that tells them that we as people of color want to filter ourselves through them. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just like just something that I had a thought of, like and then, she kept going on and eventually got off the phone, but I was doodling while I was talking to her, and like between my readings and then that conversation, I just had that thought.
So important. Thank you so much, sis.
You said it twice about doodling while you're listening. That is actually one of what we use, what we teach kids who have ADHD. That helps them focus. So did you develop it? It's really new. It's a really new construct. So if you think that kids, you're seeing them just, that they're not listening, oh yes, they are. That is how they're able to listen to you, by doodling. So you're a leader already.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I'm trying to hang in there. Like, my mom always told me, like, I basically found out I had ADHD like literally in May, because I was always just told that I had a learning disability, but not what it was. And even my special education teachers, because I had an IEP, didn't tell me what my official diagnosis was. Mm-hmm. And so I was just finally at my big old age of like 40 something, like, I really think I have adult ADHD. I really do. Mm-hmm. And so I told my mom that I'm going to go get tested. I'm going to get a referral. Mm-hmm. And that's a whole other pain in the butt. So I'm still unmedicated, still waiting to get seen. But she was like, well, that's what you were diagnosed with. And I was like, what? Come again? And she was like, that was your diagnosis. And I said, no, I did not know that was my diagnosis. So then I immediately started doing a bunch of research, but it was also very freeing, because part of the problem with ADHD is everybody thinks that you're like lazy or inattentive, and you start internalizing that. Mm-hmm. And you start being like, why can't I do this? I'm struggling. And a large part of like going back to some of the stuff about suicide is there is a higher degree of suicides for people who have disabilities, mm-hmm. like mine, like neurodivergency. And but it was like freeing, because I was like, oh no, it's just my process things differently. There's nothing wrong with my process, and I don't have to take responsibility for being like, oh, I'm not motivated, I'm so lazy, all this other garbage. And I mean, it's a work. Like, even if you have that, you can intellectualize it, that doesn't mean you've internalized it. So at least I had that realization, and I'm a pretty logical person, but it was very freeing to know. And that's why I really cannot stand when people are like, well, we don't want to label them. And I'm like, no, there's empowerment in that label. There's understanding in that label. And also, just because I have a disability doesn't mean necessarily that I have an intellectual like I have a cognitive issue, because diversity, disability has diversity within it. So yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take up so much space.
We need other languaging. We need it.
Much space as you need.
Yeah. We need other languaging for assuming that we understand what is a disability. That has a negative connotation, and it shouldn't. Learning differently is what it is.
Well, you got to watch out with people like me, because ADHD people could talk forever.
That's good. So. That's good.
Does anyone else have a reflection for our hashtag loving white family?
Deb, you want to go?
No, I'm good. Talked enough.
Oh, no. Just like, okay. Dear white family, I just spent a good time with some of your family members in a space, and it was really refreshing to engage them in a way where they didn't have to ask questions because they couldn't believe it was coming from me. They didn't have to pry and make me prove information I was sharing, because I really just came across believable. And because I have the passion for what I do, I think anybody can just connect with my heart around it. So what I want to tell you, dear white people, is to start talking, and you don't have to think that you have to get inside of your job and start talking to every Black or Hispanic or Asian person. Because here's the thing, just because you have a conversation, it doesn't mean you're doing your work because you say hello, or just because you invite somebody over to your office so you can have space, or just because you actually sit and have lunch with somebody, it doesn't mean that you don't have to do your work, right? Because the work that we have to engage in is a forever work. Mm-hmm. Again, Rome was not built in a day. We know this. So I have no unrealistic expectation that you are going to rebuild, all of the damage that has been done due to white supremacist ideologies that's permeating our society and perpetuating harm against people from marginalized groups. I need you to do the work, start the work, and eventually one day you'll be the work. Mm-hmm. But we still have to do the work. It's a forever work. That's what I want you to know, my white family. Thank you.
Couldn't have said it better, sis. You're wrinkling my brain. I love it. I love it. Let me think, family. Dear white family. So this coyote knows that I'm very light-skinned. I am on the books 5/8 Isleta. I am 1/8 Laguna and 1/8 Acoma, which means that this coyote on the books is 7/8. Technically, though, the U.S. government was trying to breed us out. That's why we have the blood quantum system. So I am not allowed to claim those other 2/8 of Pueblo. And I'm also 1/8 Filipino family. But I am too light-skinned to just be that, which means that there's rape, there is colonization, there is marriage, and having relationships with white people because of survival in my family's history, which is why I can pass as white. So dear white family, as someone who is taken as a white person, I'm asking you to join me in using my lightness privilege, your whiteness privilege, and weaponizing it to help support and defend and protect our communities. This coyote is all about being a superhero, and I do warrior advocacy, which means that I take up battles, legal battles, advocacy battles with the Office of Equal Opportunity for universities. I'm on my 9th case in various states from across the United States family on anything from discrimination based on racial, ethnic background, disability, kidnapping, academic theft, rape and sexual harassment. Those are all the cases I've had so far, family. But when this coyote enters that office with my survivor, and I come in my Ralph Lauren suits, in my jewelry, dripping with my academic language and authority, they take notice, and my lightness privilege allows me to get out the words that I need to say in order to advocate for my student. They stop and they see wealth, they see class, they see whiteness, and society has taught us that those are the powers that we listen to, that we respond to. So when I walk into a room, people will stop and defer to me just because of the way that I look and the way that I dress and the access that I have, family. And I'm asking you, white family, that is privilege and that is power that we can use to lift up our communities. And I'm not saying do it in a patronizing way. I'm saying do the work, do it in a humanizing way. But I'm asking you to get into the battle.
Yes.
Our segment 5 family goes back to the tenet, our theme for today, which is keeping our superpowers. We must maintain a humanizing balance between our minds, bodies, and spirits. So in this, one of our final segments, family, I think it's second to last, we are going to be talking about how we've been doing the last few weeks in keeping a balance. Are we taking care of our minds, our bodies, and our spirits? What do you guys think? Are we doing good? What's our report card?
I'm on the East Coast.
Poor sis, we should let you go.
I'm like, my mom told me years ago, and she said I'm still the same way. She said, when you get sleepy, you start laughing a lot. She said you get silly. So sometimes when I visit her, even now, and go up to see her, she's like, and I'm up late and trying to keep her up late. And she's like, go take your silly self somewhere and lay down, because you just giggling and laughing, you know. So I'm sitting here like, yes, it's about that time. So I'm gonna head out. Thank you to my amazing superhero family. I enjoy being with you. And again, please, you are challenged to celebrate your birthday all year long. Happy New Year to you again. All right. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
You're welcome.
And ladies, you know, I have sisters.
You want to go ahead?
I'm rocking around here because the gym's gonna go.
Oh no! Go ahead and say goodnight then. Go ahead and say goodnight.
I love you. I love you.
Thank you so much for
joining.
Thank
you for bringing me in and for giving me voice. You are my voice space. Thank you.
Have a great
family.
Good night.
You.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Karlene, are you leaving me too?
I guess, what was the question again?
I miss you.
Oh,
I haven't got to see you in forever, and it was your birthday. Dude. What did you do? Did you have adventures?
No. I had a meeting today, but then I did my schedule and made it so I didn't have to really do that much. And then I just had to pick up my daughter from her basketball game. They run late, but she's not playing. She's a team manager. So, but they got out late, so I had to go run and get her and come back. And then I was here. But what was the question? I'm serious. What was the question again? I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, we could just chit chat and catch up if you want, or do you want to go ahead and finish and be official?
Okay, I'll finish. What was the question?
Okay, our question is talking about Tenet 3. We're reflecting on how superheroes have to maintain a humanizing balance between their minds, bodies, and spirits. So the last couple of weeks, sis, have you been taking care of your mind, body, and spirit?
Probably more of my mind and spirit. But I do have, I have, at least I did something kind of for my body, which I consider meditation part, because it's for your brain, so it's part of your body. But I do want to get back into yoga. Like, I'm not really like, I don't really care if I lose weight or not. I just want to make sure that I'm still flexible and that I can still move and just move my body. So I want to get back into doing yoga and doing some elliptical stuff. I even put it in my learning contract to kind of keep me accountable. But ADD is very tricky, because especially when you're unmedicated, because it's almost impossible to get yourself to do something you don't want to do. And you have to really, like, I have to do this like internalized self-coaching where it's like, okay, babe, so maybe we won't do it right now, but we'll do it in like 15 minutes, okay? And then it's like, okay. And then
Oh my God, can you teach me how to do that? Because you don't even understand. I have 2 things that I'm supposed to do like Friday, then every day. I'm just saying, can you teach me? Teach me how to do that is what I'm saying.
I don't know. I think I've been the most organized as a student that I've ever been before. And I think it's because I know I have ADHD, and also like some of the similar effects of like ADD, ADHD, and then trauma, and then I do have like multiple traumas as well. They kind of have the same symptoms. So I started watching, weirdly enough, I started watching these YouTubers that were guys, and they were very open about their ADHD. And I liked how they talked about it and talked about themselves. So I started being like, oh, I should do that. I should soothing self-coaching is like internalized soothing self-coaching. So when I realized that I'm hitting a wall, I recognize that. And then I'm like, okay. And then I take a breath and I'm like, what time is it? What do we have to do? And what can be pushed off until tomorrow? Because I really need that time and that space. And ADHD is like, bitch, you need to make sure you have that space, because you're gonna need it. So I overestimate on times to get things done. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, an 8-page paper, like theoretically I could do it in a day, but it won't be good. So like, okay, well, I need to start researching that a week before, like give myself a week before student research, then plan it out. And then I'm also, instead of like making long lists that you scratch out, I make daily lists. And I'll make a list for myself on a Post-it note right before I go to sleep. I also do all of my, like, whatever I have to read, if I can change the color of it, I change the color of it to reduce my anxiety, because it reduces everybody's anxiety. So like, it's so weird, because a lot of things that are for people, accessible things for people that have disabilities, are actually just good for everybody. You know? But I don't know, like, those are the only tricks that I have. I also have a crazy calendar that I look up at every once in a while that's color coded. But mostly I'm like, okay, we're gonna take it day by day, and we'll just briefly look ahead.
Where's your calendar?
Okay, I'll have to get it. I'll be right back.
Oh my God. I want to also go back.
Well, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the calendar.
I totally see that.
And that's just my classes. That's not my kids' schedule, or
I love it,
or my practium. That's just schoolwork.
No, but I love it. I mean, I have this crazy calendar that it's an appointment book, actually, and it gives it by the hour, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna write it down by the hour what I've been working. Fucking thing. I started like the first week of January, and I haven't opened it since.
I don't know. Post-it notes. I think I need something that's unofficial. If it's official, it's too stressful for me, and then it increases my anxiety, and then my anxiety and my ADD will be like, we're literally not going to do anything. I'm just like, okay.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I had, sorry.
That's okay.
That's how you know it's working, right, family?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that's the only
I'm
fun
also
part.
I'm horrible with tech. So one time when I was in a Zoom, I muted myself, but I was the host, so I thought it muted it for other people. So when we're podcasting, I'm terrified of muting myself because I think it's gonna mute the feed to Facebook. So that's why you can hear me coughing and blowing my nose and hacking, because I'm like, oh my God, if I mute, everyone's gonna get muted. And one time, never mind. Anyways,
No,
but
you're fine.
I also wanted to go back to what you were saying about disability earlier, like it's your intro or the beginning, because it's always been that they've never recognized anything, right? It's always been on paper, like a pat on the head, like, oh, you have a disability. Let's have a meeting and let's write a list. But whether or not they actually enforce it when you're in the classroom, whether or not your professors have an understanding of their obligations in making sure your accommodations are met. I've had professors who literally will fail students who have disabilities, who have accommodations like extensions, because their policy is zeros only work. So I feel like there's a lack, not only in academia, but in the workplace, of what disabilities are, what it means, how we walk in the world. But it also feels like when we're talking about invisible disabilities, because of COVID as a global historic trauma, we all are going through some form of anxiety. I mean, sure, there are some people, maybe they're so privileged, their lives have been relatively unchanged. But for our communities, especially communities of color, indigenous communities, poor white brothers and sisters, yeah, our lives have drastically changed. The world has shifted. And I think we're only beginning to realize how the ramifications of everything. Um, so thank you so much for talking about that. But I just wanted to ask your opinion on that too. Like, I I I fight and I immediately think of how can I force this institution? Is it my social media shaming? Is it a literal legal battle? Is it a campaign, right, with the media and getting interviews that we have to conduct? Is it going around and creating a coalition of tribes? It's literally what I'm doing right now for one of the issues that I'm working on for social justice. But how do you see that we're going to fix this? I mean, you're going to social work, you're going to be pursuing, and you're in the classroom right now, and your peers, I think that they all kind of think that this is an answer, right? Getting my education in social work is somehow the answer to fixing this. So, what do you think, sis? Big question.
Well, I think like it can get overwhelming to think of the larger system, but unlike my white classmate that tried to say white supremacy was too big to tackle, so why bother?
Ouch.
Sorry, did I? And I'm like, well, that's nice for you because you're privileged in the system. That's great.
Oh my God, what does she want to do? Leave it there? Give it an allowance?
Why
Like,
wouldn't
say
she?
hi?
She's white. It works. It works for her. Why should she bother? But what I said to her is all you can do is actionable pieces when you can. So you do what you can when you can. I think a lot of it is about connecting with people. So I think you're on the right path for that and building a coalition and keeping, just keeping just a basic in touch with people because we are going to need each other a lot. I think there's a lot of room to help even just locally. I think people should probably focus way more locally than they should even really care that much about what's going on federally. Because I mean, yes, money always gets taken and given away. It's like the Republicans take it away, and then the Democrats are like, "Well, here's back half of it. You happy? You happy now? You happy?" And then the Republicans take half of that half, and then the Democrats speak half of that half back to you. And they're like, here, you happy now? See, vote for us. So I think all you can really do is focus on what's going on local. If you were not in a good space locally, if you're not in a good place, try to fly, baby, try to leave. Like, I don't know what to say, but I also feel like New Mexico is unique because I think the only thing, because it's rural mostly, like, you know, a couple of metropolitans, but I think what will help New Mexico is the community. And I think there's room for that, and there's a space for that, and I think it would be possible to get people on board with that, especially if you explain it in a way that is telling them that you might, some people might not have to sacrifice anything because they're already on the lower end of the social economic whole, or, you know, hierarchy anyway. So some people probably won't have to get up anything, and to the others, you probably won't have to give up that much if we could get everybody to work together on solutions. And it just doesn't have to be this way. And I'm also liking that people are finally, like, what kind of gives me hope, like at least nationally, is I'm seeing people finally really critically look at the financial systems, finance capitalism, global, like I call it, I think it's like global colonization. They figured out how they could go over to other countries using these systems, using technology in these systems to destabilize countries, swoop in, take their resources, take advantage of the people that are there, so they don't have to go to your country to colonize you anymore. They can do it globally, and with, like, it's just like this, but so are our connections globally as well. So I think if we start, you know, as long as we keep our family, you know, as wide as we possibly can get it, but also work on what we're doing here, and then exchange of ideas, what is working, what's not working, I think that will make the difference. So it's the people. It's the people.
Absolutely. Sorry, family. I'm coughing a lung up over here. Oh, goodness. And to remind our audience, our last prompt was whether or not our current superheroes were keeping a balance between our minds, bodies, and spirits. I gotta be honest, family. Nope. Not at all. I've been working out. I'm not up to where I want to be, but I have my 5 yogas that I do with you all. And then I have at least inserted 2 of my warrior yoga sessions, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, because those are the days I have a little bit more time. I have failed at integrating lifting. I'm still working on that, family. Every day, my poor love of my life asks me, "Are you gonna meet me at the gym?" And every day, I'm like, 5 a.m. in the morning, "Sure, babe." 5 p.m. at night, "I'll see you tomorrow at the gym." So that's still on my to-do list, but hey, we have next week, family. I have high hopes. So I think I'm doing okay health-wise. My binge eating, family. So you know this coyote has lost 110 pounds. I've kept it off for the last 6 years after having gastric bypass. I was dying at 35. I had hemorrhaging in my eyes, severe bleeding. It was affecting my eyesight. I had kidney damage and nerve damage in my legs. I also had a family members that had a history of diabetes, including the removal of limbs. So I had a wake-up call, and I've been working towards it ever since. But eating is always a struggle for me. I talk about having a shopping addiction because I buy pretty things when I'm stressed. And I also talk about my eating addiction. And when I get stressed, I used to eat an entire cake, right? When I was 300 pounds, as I had been 220 to 290 for the majority of my life, since I was about 18 years old. It was a way to get a quick comfort, right? A quick sugar fix. Aren't we all sugar addicts in the United States anyways? And I've been struggling because COVID gave us a lot of ups and downs. So yeah, I have been trying, family, to limit my sugar intake, and I've been doing a lot better. I'll have 4 cupcakes previously, like seriously 3 weeks ago, and now I'm down to like 2 2 a night. And I feel like that's progress, family. I'm never going to be perfect, but I'm trying to figure out what the balance is, right? I can't overdo it, and I can't have nothing. So 2 cupcakes, doesn't that sound like a pretty good deal? As far as my mind, I'm overwhelmed with work, family. I've been letting my PTSD get the better of me, but I've also been calling on my siblings to help manage that. So I've been doing Zoom dates with people. and I've been doing work dates. So I help a lot of people write letters, a recommendation, or edit their papers, or just general stuff. So instead of me taking it on and adding it to my task list later, I've been making appointments with them and doing it with them, so I don't have to do it by myself. And so I think that that's a pretty good give and take. I'm still able to help someone, but I'm not doing it all by myself and expending that emotional energy. As far as my spiritual self, family, I am very proud that I have had consistency with our daily prayers. I'm still working on services, but you know what? I firmly believe, as I said yesterday in the podcast when I was a guest for my amazing sister Samantha Nagel's podcast on Spotify, Empowered Spirituality, that when I'm not right with myself, I feel as though I cannot be a spiritual leader and I cannot hold church service that week. Because how can I help feed my spiritual community when this coyote is not right with my own spirit? So, family, forgive me as I figure out the world, but I do promise that our church services will be occurring very soon. In the meantime, don't forget to join us every single day for our daily prayer. Let's go ahead and go to the next segment for this evening. Wait, sis, you went with the ballads, right? I thought you went first.
I think I did. Yeah, I was talking about how I was doing journaling, meditation, and also giving honor and thanks to my ancestors, the earth, and the creator, and the deities that look after me.
Thank you.
I also say my ancestors. I didn't mean to be rude.
Thank you. Our next segment, family, is our pitch of the week, in which we give our pitch and we ask if you would like to support a project we're working on, a nonprofit, or something that we think that you should be interested in. Do you have anything, sis, that you think our amazing audience should know about?
Well, I don't have a personal pitch for myself, but I just wanted to say to people who may or may not know this, that the governor just lifted mask mandates. So that's going to be fun. I have 2 children that are in school, and we're going to continue to mask, and I'm going to go to the store and continue to mask. And apparently there's some conspiracy theory that a hospital or something came out and said that masks didn't work anyways. So it's the pandemic's far from over, is all I'm going to say. But just so everybody is aware, still please mask if you can, please.
Thank you so much for the reminder, sis. We are also going to continue to mask. And just to go ahead and add in, my amazing niece, poor thing, I'm calling her out here. Literally, an 18-year-old family was like, "Oh my God, Auntie, have you heard about states lifting masks?" She's like, "Haven't numbers been kind of like stabilizing or going down? Doesn't that mean we're doing something right? Why would we stop doing something right?" And I was like, "You're so right." My niece is incredibly smart, family. And that is logic. We have been staying home. We've been trying to social distance. We've been trying to be safe. We've been boostering. We've been vaccinating. We've been masking. And that is, family, as logic and science will show. When you do efforts to keep public safety under control, you will have good results. When you remove said protections, like lifting bans on masks, you're going to have death again and families at risk. Grandpa, great grandpa, everyone, please just give us some fucking politicians that have brains. I'm just saying, what the hell, people? What the hell?
We might be those politicians. We might be those politicians, honey.
Well, yeah. But I'm just saying, my 18-year-old niece knows more than you guys. But as always, family, our pitch of the week is visit our website, abeitaconsulting.com. This coyote is proud to be the CEO of the Beta Consulting Group. My amazing siblings from around the world are professionals in a variety of fields, and we are available for public speaking engagements, as well as visit the upcoming rise of the Abeita Share Community Foundation. Shout out to my amazing sis, Valentina Zapata, who has been putting our handbook together, family. We would not be able to be this far and be raising the nonprofit without her help. Look out for our fundraising events this summer, family, that will be upcoming. So please, we enjoy you, we love you. And I forgot one more slide, family. Don't forget to support us on social media. Join us here every 2 weeks at Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Mountain Time, family. We also are taking volunteers absolutely for our org. We do need help with our website, video editing, holding our community events, social media outreach, and plans for humanizing world domination. So reach out to us if you would like to go ahead and join us in any of these amazing adventures. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Dr. Rija Su Adria Mañana, hashtag Dr. Rija. Her social media is at Rija Su Mañana on Facebook. This Coyote Dre Abeita, hashtag Coyote Walking, at Dre Abeita. And I'm on 7 social media platforms, family. On Monday, Valentine's Day, I clocked in at 20,088 followers on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Clubhouse. Our amazing sis, Jody Burche, who is an ED and a professor at Sippy Family, hashtag Indigenous Warrior. Don't forget to follow her at Jody Burche on Facebook. My amazing sis, Karlene Anderson, MSW, hashtag Social Worker Rockstar. She's on social media at Casey Andersum on Twitter, family. Our amazing sis, Tomei, Tomei Douglas, Varlack-Butler, Truthteller, hashtag Tomei's Truth, and her social media family at Tomei Douglas. And she's on Facebook. And don't forget to visit her website, www.worthshopinc.org. It has been another amazing episode. This is the conclusion of episode 11, family. This coyote and my amazing family is off to cause trouble somewhere else, but we hope to see you again sometime soon.